Welcome to Shorty SuperCoach. How's it going, guys? Jesus, it's been some sort of a night. I've got an absolute story for you. It was crazy scenes, but there's not much to talk about in terms of SuperCoach. The live was good fun on Wednesday, but I'll tell you what, most of the chat was absolute banter and maybe some vice captains and captains options. So I'll run through a few players, maybe a few guys that are representing a bit of value. But tonight, Jesus, mate. So I went out to dinner with some friends. Those friends will remain unnamed for the following events. We have a good night. We have a good feed. Go get some ice cream. It's great. It's going well. We're driving home. We're just sort of cruising around, just taking the scenic route. And one of the fellas is like, "Oh mate, pull over. I need a piss." Fair enough. No worries. We pull over. He goes, takes a piss, and he sort of walks back. He's just like kind of wandering around near the passenger seat. And I'm like, "Mate, what are you doing? We can get in here." And he gets in here. Something's a bit off. Anyway, a bit of chit chat. We're driving around, and he's like, "Oh, come on, mate. We gotta head home. We gotta head home." Oh, come on, mate. It's school night. Come on, live a little. Bloody work night. Anyway, we're about 6 or 7 minutes from home, and the fella in the back, he'd been pretty quiet for like there was a lot of banter throughout the night. He'd been pretty quiet for like a minute or so, and I'm like, "Geez, bit quiet in the back there. What's going on?" And in the lead up to this, he did say, "Boys, I think I need a shit. Like, we need to get home. I need the bathroom pretty quick." And we're like, "Yeah, fair. All right, let's go home." And that's when the silence sort of kicked in, and we're like, "Shit, he's battling back here." Before we know it, he's like, "Fucking pull over, pull over. I'm gonna shit myself." And my mate's like, "Are you serious? Pull over. I'm serious. I'm gonna shit my pants." So we pull over to the side of the road, blinker on, immediately pull over, and he's hanging on the door. As soon as we stop out, he fucking power walks off. We're like, I'm in tears by this point. Like, it was hectic. It went from like literally 15 minutes ago, full banter, trash talk, to like panic mode. He goes, "I'm holding on for dear life here." And within like 5, 10 seconds, he's come back and he's like, "I think it's too late. I think it's too late." And we're like, "Oh, what?" He goes, I don't feel good, boys, and I'm holding on for dear life, and I think it's too late, but I've got to get home." We're like, "Bro, all right." Get in the car. He's like saying his stomach's like churning, like feeling awful, and he's like, "Yeah, there has been like I think there's been some gastro going around." We're like, Jesus. So we're like 6 or 7 minutes from home, and he's genuinely like, "This is getting rapidly worse. Like, I need to get home." Fucking get on that accelerator. So we're going home, fucking charge home. We get home. We're like, "Fuck, bro, get out. Good luck to you, mate. Good luck to you." And he gets out, and we look at the back seat, and I don't know what it was, but it looked like he was eating a Nutella sandwich back there, boys. It was grim. It was pretty fucked, to be honest. Not, I'm overplaying it. It wasn't that bad, but there were a couple of areas on that seat that needed to be cleaned. And we both looked back and were just like, oh. And then he looked at us. He's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Fuck." It was like awkward. It's like, "Mate, go. You've got to go to the toilet, bro. Like you've got to go. Just we'll deal with it. Don't worry." And he messaged us like 2 minutes later. He's like, "Mate, I'm throwing up. I'm in all sorts here." The poor bastard. I hope he doesn't mind me telling it. I mean, he's unnamed. You know, we're not going to name names here, but fuck, poor fella. And we did go to APCO, grab some baby wipes, and cleaned it up. To be fair, the bloke who was driving took the absolute hero moment, and he was up to the task. He cleaned it up with some baby wipes from APCO, mate. Credit to him because I don't know if I could have got in there, but maybe Shorty's not ready for dad life. I tell you what, I didn't wake up this morning thinking I'll be watching my mate clean up my other mate's shit off the back seat. Didn't think that would happen, but it was a crazy end of the night. Great night, great fun, but probably going to keep that one on the low down in amongst our mates. But then again, I've just told it on YouTube. So, but we're not naming names. It's just an anonymous story. And I thought this is too crazy and too hilarious not to tell. But certainly in public life, not going to be telling the boys. Keep that one quiet. But hey, brutal, brutal scenes. Let's look at some teams, shall we? I had to share it with you. I really did. I mean, hopefully you're not watching this over dinner or breakfast or lunch whenever you tune into this one. Crazy, crazy times. But I haven't hit you with a decent story for a while, or at least a genuinely reckless story. So there you go. But all right, let's hold our collective breath and hope the teams again deliver us some good luck and good fortune because we got draft finals for me, league finals for everyone, depending on your league structure. But I think most of us are entering those leagues, so let's get stuck into it. Doesn't look to be any damage there. Dustin Martin being managed does hurt one of my Supercoach teams. That's not ideal in my draft. Tukamilla, obviously, that hurts another one of my drafts, but nothing too bad for Classic yet. Shannon Hearn announces the retirement. Gets managed. Rough. McGovern comes back. That's good for one of my drafts. Yeah, nothing too crazy there. Nothing too crazy. Well, Tom Green comes back. That's great. Few out for the Hawks there. But again, nothing too hectic for our sides. Yeah, nothing too bad there. Nothing too bad there. Tell you what, I've been getting around footy grid as well. If anyone could tell me, you know how they film it on TikTok, doing their footy grids and stuff. How do you do that? I don't know. They've got like themselves up the top and the footy grid like they're doing it live. I don't know how to do it. So if anyone can tell me how to do it, I will record a few of these because I'm really enjoying it. But and again, nothing too crazy there. So nice. Things are looking okay. Let's take a look here. We should be going pretty well for the old classic. A couple of soldiers down in draft, which isn't ideal. But obviously we get Tom Green back, so we can put George Hewitt there, who's a handy little backup for us if we need him. But at this stage, we're looking good. In terms of vice captains and captains, I'm a bit torn. You might have seen my TikTok. Look, I'm thinking Bontempelli. I'm thinking Rory Laird. Like, it'd take me to be fairly good on the old time management because Rory Laird is pretty tight to the 4:35 game. But what I'm thinking, what's going on here? Fucking loading and shit. What I'm thinking is Rory Laird VC. Now, did McGuinness get named? That's what I really wanted to see. Now, you would think Hawthorn would surely be tagging Dacos, and I'm pretty sure it looks like McGuinness has held his spot. Yes, he has. So I noticed he hadn't attended high centre bounces recently, McGuinness, which says to me that he hasn't been tagging, but they'd be crazy not to. And it's too big of a risk to have him as the skipper. So I think I've got to avoid it. Now, Bontempelli, is he due for a big one? Or is he just Mr. Consistent, 110 to 130 with the occasional big one? I don't know. I'm half tempted by Tom Stewart. If you've got Zach Merritt, or if you've got Christian Petrarca, or if you've got Max Gawn, go with those guys for sure. But for me, I'm honestly going to just think about it right until the very bounce. I feel like Sicily is a good C option, but Collingwood move the ball quickly. If they play ridiculous football and smash Hawthorn, move the ball quick, he's not going to be able to play his ultimate intercept game. Like, he'll still score 100, you'd say, but can he develop a 140? I'm not sure. I'm confident in the Laird selection, but it is a tough one. It is a tough one. And look, English against Nankervis. I think Nank's the sort of ruckman that just will be able to quell a English type. So I don't know. Ran out of time there, but yeah, I'm gonna have to think on it and just see how we go. But look, to be honest, let's just roll through a few players that are relatively discounted, and I might just do it across the board here, cover all positions, and talk about some guys that represent some value. Look, if you've got Miller, I'd suggest hold him. Even it's only 1 week. I think Walsh needs to go because he's 2 to 3. Hamstrings can be worse. It's too risky. You're probably only going to get one best case scenario 2 weeks out of him. And a lot of people are asking, do I use my last 1 or 2 trades here, or do I hold? Or what it basically comes down to is, what do you want to do? Do you want to win your leagues, or are you going for best overall? If you're going for your leagues, then probably be more aggressive, or look at your matchup. Do you have that person covered? Can you afford to hold? Will you get the week off if you win? You can probably afford to hold. What sort of coverage do you have? If you've got a Hewitt to come in, then hold. If you've got a Windhager, you could even hold. But, if you're going to expose like a rookie that's going to really score pretty bad, then you maybe trade. So it just comes down to your coverage. How gutsy you're feeling, what's your ultimate goal, and it really does come down to a horses for courses. But I think it's very handy to have one trade up the sleeve at the moment, or a genuine backup like a Hewitt. So that's why I used my trade last week, because I've got George Hewitt as a backup for the mid. I've got Doherty as a backup for the defence because Hewitt comes in the mid, and I've got Dunkley who goes in the forward line. Hewitt goes in the mid, and I've got Darcy Cameron can go into the ruck. So, in essence, I can cover all positions on the ground as long as we don't have absolute chaos and have 2 or 3 injuries. I can pretty much cover most things. So, it gives me a little bit of comfort, but still at this stage you need a little bit of luck. So, who represents a bit of value? Hey, let's roll down a bit. Look, I still think Steele represents some pretty solid value, as does Parrish. Sarong's at a really good price. I had Sarong being talked about. Like Josh Kelly, Paddy Cripps, all good options at a cheaper price. I still think Sinclair he's had a few 60s in that, so he hasn't really consistently gone amazing. So he still finds himself below 550, which is a great option. Canelio had a sneaky good year, still at 540. You could do a hell of a lot worse dual position. Noah Anderson, solid again. Treloar I had asked about, but probably prefer the other options as for a durability point of view, and he can sometimes butcher the footy, which saw him score a 50 odd the other week. Butters at a great price. Will Day you could mount a case for. There's Cripps. Warner is playing good footy. I wouldn't trust him as much as the others. He's playing a little bit more forward as well. McRae continues to do nicely. So Josh Kelly, I think, represents some of the best value. Not his best 3 to 5 weeks, but I think he's still quality. So, look, that is a few names to think about. I'm not telling you too much you don't know, but it does show that there are a few guys that represent value below 550, around 500. Wanganeen Miller has had a really nice 3 to 5 weeks. Flanders as well, I think, is a pretty solid option. Again, with Miller out, you get a pretty good week guaranteed this week. I'm probably feeling like there's a little bit more value in the forward line. I was going through defenders that were a bit cheaper, not as many. A bit more bang for your buck in the forward line with guys like Darcy Cameron and a few others. But Caleb Daniel, you can do a hell of a lot worse, particularly in 2 weeks. He could be a nice final upgrade. Could be, your 23rd premium because he'll find himself probably around 420, 430. Luke Jackson, I know he didn't light it on fire against the Cats, but number 1 ruck, I think he's going to go nice for 460. So there's just a few things to think about. Callum Mills just isn't putting it together, so he might hurt a few. But yeah, you can go through. Even Jake Lloyd responded really well, had that injury-affected game. So the names are out there. They are floating around if you do need someone on the cheap. So it's something to consider. So it's a pretty broad video today because there wasn't anything specific that came out in the live. And that's what this stage of the year is really about. We've got our teams. We can't do too much trading. We pray and hope that our guys go well and there's no injuries. And onwards you go. You don't have too much control at the moment. So cross those fingers, hey. If you're in some leagues, good luck to you. I'll certainly be hoping to snag multiple league wins. Summer elimination finals. So I'm not really one to watch the league head to head too closely, but this week I will be. So good luck to you. If you're taking me on, bad luck to you. But all the best. I'll talk to you guys soon. Cheers.